I never imagined my life would turn into the kind of story people read on Reddit late at night. But life has a strange way of pushing you into moments you never expect. My name is Daniel, and for most of my life, I believed I was the kind of guy who could avoid drama as long as I stayed respectful, hardworking, and loyal. I always kept my head down, showed up on time, and treated people the way I wanted to be treated. But betrayal has a way of finding you even when you think you're safe. And mine came from the one person I trusted the most, my best friend Ryan. Ryan and I grew up together on the same street. We had the kind of friendship that people envy: sleepovers, late-night gaming, sharing secrets, covering for each other when we messed up. He wasn't just a friend. He was the brother I never had. People used to joke that if one of us was around, the other couldn't be far behind. Even when we got older, went to college, found jobs, and started dating, nothing seemed to break that bond. Or at least, that's what I thought. Things really started to change when I began dating Emma. She was warm, funny, and full of this bright energy that made everything feel a little lighter. I'd never connected with someone so quickly. We spent hours talking about music, favorite road trips, our dreams, and all the silly things that didn't matter to anyone else. Within a few months, she met Ryan, and I was relieved when they seemed to get along. I remember thinking, great, my two favorite people like each other. Life couldn't be better. But what I didn't notice at the time, what I didn't even think to question, were the small glances they exchanged when they thought I wasn't looking, or the inside jokes they formed too quickly, or how sometimes I'd walk into the room and they'd suddenly stop talking as if I'd interrupted something important. I brushed every odd moment aside because I trusted them both. I loved Emma, and I trusted Ryan like a brother. That combination blinded me more than I ever realized. Things escalated slowly at first. Emma would sometimes get quiet when I mentioned Ryan, or Ryan would tease me about small things that only Emma and I talked about in private. I thought I was overthinking. I told myself I was just tired from work or stressed about life. But there was one night, one small moment that finally made me pause. We were all sitting together watching a movie. I had stepped out to grab snacks from the kitchen, and when I came back, the movie was still playing, but Emma and Ryan were whispering to each other. When they heard my footsteps, they jumped slightly and leaned away from each other. They acted normal afterward, but something in my chest felt wrong, like a quiet alarm ringing in the background. Still, I said nothing. Because I trusted them. Because I believed loyalty meant something to people. Weeks passed, and everything got stranger. Emma suddenly became distant. She stopped texting as much, canceled dates, and always seemed lost in her thoughts. When I asked what was wrong, she'd just say she was tired. Ryan also acted weird, avoiding eye contact, dodging plans, making excuses to not hang out. It was like I was losing both of them at the same time. The breaking point came on a rainy Thursday afternoon. I had left work early because of a power outage. I didn't tell anyone, not even Emma, because I planned to surprise her with dinner. I drove to her apartment with takeout and flowers, excited like some lovesick idiot who genuinely thought he was about to make her day. When I reached her building, I noticed a familiar car parked outside. Ryan's car. My heart dropped so hard that for a moment I couldn't breathe. I stood there in the rain, soaking wet, staring at the car, trying to convince myself it wasn't what it looked like. Maybe he was visiting someone else in the building. Maybe he had car trouble. Maybe I was being dramatic. I walked up the stairs slowly, every step heavier than the last. When I reached Emma's door, I heard voices inside. Not just voices laughing, playful, familiar laughing. The kind you share with someone you feel comfortable with. The kind that used to be mine. I don't know what force pushed me to open the door. Maybe hope. Maybe fear. Maybe intuition. But when I did, everything I believed in, everything I trusted, shattered. There they were, Emma, Ryan, together. On her couch, so close their knees touched, their faces inches apart, laughing at something on Ryan's phone. So comfortable, so natural, so wrong. Emma's smile faded instantly when she saw me. Ryan's face went white. The takeout bag slipped from my hand, hitting the floor with a dull thud. The flowers got crushed under my shoe as I stepped back. For a moment, none of us spoke. The only sound was the rain pounding against the windows. Emma opened her mouth to say something, but the words disappeared. Ryan's lips trembled like he wanted to explain, but there was nothing he could say. I didn't shout. I didn't cry. I just stared at them, feeling the kind of pain that doesn't scream, it burns silently. I turned around and walked away. I didn't want to hear excuses. I didn't want to hear lies. I didn't want to hear anything. As I stepped outside into the rain, I realized something. This wasn't an accident. This wasn't a mistake. This was betrayal, slow, intentional, deliberate betrayal by the two people I loved and trusted most. And that was the night everything changed. That was the night my revenge began. When I woke up the morning after seeing Emma and Ryan together, the world felt heavier, like gravity had doubled overnight. I hadn't slept at all. I spent the entire night staring at my ceiling, my mind replaying that moment at her apartment on a loop. Her shocked face, his guilt-ridden eyes, the crushed flowers on the floor. Every part of it burned itself into my memory like a permanent scar. But beneath the pain, something new began to grow. Something sharp, cold, clear. It wasn't anger. Not yet. Anger is loud and temporary. This was quieter. This was focus. I realized one thing very clearly: if I wanted answers, if I wanted closure, if I wanted justice, I needed to stop thinking with my heart and start thinking with my mind. People always say revenge is messy, but they forget one thing. The most effective revenge is never rushed. It is patient, silent, calculated. And that morning, I made myself a silent promise. I would not cry. I would not beg. I would not break. I would build myself back with purpose. I wasn't seeking chaos. I wasn't seeking violence. I wanted truth. I wanted exposure. I wanted the people who destroyed me to watch everything they built with lies collapse. And I wanted to do it without ever lowering myself to their level. For the next few days, I went completely silent. I didn't call Emma. I didn't text Ryan. I didn't confront them or demand explanations. I simply disappeared from their world. I needed space, not to heal, but to observe, to understand, to plan. Emma tried reaching out at first. She sent short messages like, "Can we talk? Please, Daniel, I didn't mean for you to see it like that. This isn't what you think. Every time my phone buzzed, my chest tightened, but I didn't respond. I refused to give her the satisfaction of thinking she still had control over my emotions. Ryan, on the other hand, went completely silent. Typical. Cowards hide when the truth finally catches up to them. During this time, I started paying attention to everything, tiny details I used to ignore. I checked the dates of their messages. I remembered unexpected schedule changes. I replayed past conversations in my head. The clues I once overlooked now fit together like pieces of a puzzle I didn't want to solve but needed to finish anyway. The truth became painfully clear. This wasn't new. This wasn't a one-time mistake. This had been happening behind my back for weeks, maybe months. The realization didn't make me cry. It made me colder. One evening, about a week after the incident, I sat in my living room with the lights off. The room was dark except for the soft glow from the street lamp outside. It made the whole house feel empty, like a place abandoned by warmth. I sat there for hours, replaying everything. Not to hurt myself, to fuel myself. People say heartbreak destroys you. But betrayal? Betrayal rebuilds you into something stronger. Around midnight, something inside me shifted. For the first time since that day, I felt calm, unshakably calm. My mind, instead of spiraling, became still, focused, sharp, and in that silence, a thought came to me. If they could plan behind my back, so could I. I didn't need to shout. I didn't need to confront them. I needed to be smarter. If I was going to expose them, I needed proof undeniable. Solid proof that no one could twist or deny. Half-truths lead nowhere. Full truths destroy lies completely. I started by quietly checking old text backups between Emma and me. Times she suddenly became busy. Moments she canceled plans last minute. Random nights Ryan said he wasn't feeling well or needed rest. Patterns emerged like stains under a black light. They matched too perfectly. They overlapped too often. I also searched through old group photos and videos. I noticed small things I never caught before, subtle touches, side glances, smiles that lingered too long. I remembered a moment where Ryan accidentally brushed against her arm, and she laughed it off. Back then, I thought nothing of it. Now it looked like a rehearsed moment. I even recalled parties where they sat closer than usual, inside jokes forming in seconds, soft nudges, moments when I walked away and they seemed to talk more comfortably than they ever did around me. Every memory that once felt harmless now looked like a quiet warning. I gathered everything. Dates, times, screenshots, patterns, not to hurt them physically, to hurt the lie they built. During this time, I became someone else, not cruel, not vengeful, but calculated. My silence was strategic. If I stayed quiet long enough, they would get nervous. They would wonder what I knew. They would talk. And when guilty people talk, they slip. And I was right. One night, Emma called me 15 times in a row. When I didn't answer, she sent a voice message. Her voice cracked midway through. Daniel, please. I know you're hurt. Just talk to me. Please, this isn't what you think. Nothing happened. Not like that. You misunderstood. That was the moment I realized she was terrified, not because of guilt, but because she could feel control slipping from her hands. She couldn't manipulate silence. She couldn't twist what I didn't say. Ryan, meanwhile, began avoiding everyone in our friend group. He stopped showing up online. He didn't join calls. People asked me if something happened, but I simply said, "I'm busy," and let them wonder. The more confused they were, the better. Silence wasn't just my weapon. It was their undoing. 2 weeks after the incident, Emma finally sent a long message. Pages of text, apologies, excuses, emotional paragraphs. She said she loved me, that she never meant to hurt me, and that whatever happened between her and Ryan was a moment of weakness. A moment? They looked like they had shared far more than a moment. At the end of her message, she begged me to meet her in person to clear the air. I stared at the message for a long time. Not because I believed her, but because I now understood exactly how to move forward. A meeting would give me what I needed. Answers, truth, confessions. Not to forgive her, but to bury the lies. So I replied for the first time in weeks. Yes, let's meet. One simple message. Short, cold, controlled, and just like that, the stage was set. I wasn't walking into that meeting as the broken man she expected. I was walking in as someone reinvented by betrayal, someone ready to execute a revenge plan so precise, so patient, that they would never see it coming. This was no longer about pain. This was about justice. This was about truth. And I was just getting started. The cafe where Emma asked me to meet her was too quiet for a Saturday afternoon. It was the kind of place we used to visit together, back when life felt simple and predictable. As I walked inside, a strange mix of nostalgia and numbness settled in my chest. The windows were fogged from the cold outside. Soft jazz music hummed from hidden speakers, and the scent of roasted coffee beans floated in the air. The atmosphere felt warm, but I didn't. I felt like a stranger inside my own memories. Emma was already sitting at a corner table. When she saw me, her eyes widened with relief and guilt all at once. Her face looked tired, eyes slightly swollen, as if she hadn't slept properly in days. Maybe she hadn't, but that wasn't my concern anymore. I approached the table slowly, not rushing, not hesitating. Every step felt like reclaiming a piece of myself. "Hi," she whispered. I sat down without returning the greeting. Silence filled the space between us, thick, heavy, unspoken. She fidgeted with her fingers, biting her lip the way she always did when she was nervous. "I'm glad you came," she said. I really needed to talk to you." I nodded once calmly. "Talk." She swallowed hard, her throat trembling. "Daniel, I'm so sorry. I made a mistake. A terrible mistake. I didn't want to hurt you. I didn't mean for any of this to happen." I watched her quietly. No reaction. No emotion. Just observation. She continued, voice cracking as she spoke. I wasn't thinking clearly. Ryan and I. It wasn't planned. It just happened. It was one stupid moment, and I regret it every single day. You have to believe me. I leaned forward slightly. A moment doesn't happen over a few weeks. Her eyes widened. What? You think I didn't notice the messages? The timing? The patterns? You didn't just slip once, Emma. You made choices. Repeated choices. She froze. Her face drained of color. Her breathing changed shallow, rapid. I can explain. You don't have to, I said calmly. I'm not here for excuses. She looked down, tears pooling in her eyes. Then why did you come? To hear the truth. Not the edited version. Not the version that makes you feel better. The real one. Emma shook her head, fighting her emotions. Daniel, I didn't want to fall for him. I didn't even think of him that way at first. But we started talking when you were busy with work. You were always tired, always stressed. I felt lonely and, there it is, I said softly. Blame me. She burst into tears. I'm not blaming you. I'm blaming myself. I was weak. I should have told you. I should have stopped it. I know I ruined everything. Her voice echoed in the cafe, but I stayed still, almost numb. The pain was still there, but it didn't control me anymore. It didn't drown me. It fueled me. When she finally stopped crying, I asked the question I came for. How long? She hesitated. How long? 2 months, she whispered. 2 months. 60 days. 8 weeks. While I worked, fought stress, lost sleep, and planned a future, she built another life behind my back. I nodded slowly. I didn't flinch. I didn't break. I just accepted the final piece of the truth. Thank you, I said calmly, standing. Daniel, please don't leave like this, she begged, grabbing my hand. Please, we can fix this. I'll do anything. I just want us back. Her touch felt unfamiliar now, like a stranger trying to hold on to something already gone. We're not fixing anything, I said softly. But I needed the truth. Now I have it. I walked out of the cafe without looking back. Her crying followed me through the cold air, but I didn't stop. I couldn't. I wouldn't. And the moment I stepped outside, the plan became crystal clear. I didn't want destruction. I wanted accountability. I wanted reality. I wanted balance. And I wanted them both, Emma and Ryan, to face the truth they tried to hide. Revenge isn't always fury. Sometimes it's simply revealing what others desperately try to bury. I started with our friend group, the people who trusted me, supported me, and unknowingly sat beside a liar and her accomplice. I invited everyone to a small get-together at my apartment. Nothing fancy. Just friends, food, and a talk. When everyone arrived, I played it calm, friendly, normal. Then, in the middle of the evening, I connected my phone to the TV. Everyone watched as I displayed the screenshots, dates, messages, call logs. Not exaggerated. Not edited. Just facts. A thick wave of silence filled the room. Eyes widened. People shook their heads. A few gasped. Someone whispered, "No way." Emma? Ryan? It wasn't loud revenge. It was silent impact. Heavy, real, unavoidable. And when I was done, I simply said, "Now you know the truth. Do with it whatever you want." Some people were angry at them. Some were disappointed. A few felt betrayed themselves because they had defended Emma before. But everyone agreed on one thing. I deserved better. That alone was powerful. I didn't block Emma or Ryan right away. I knew they would come sooner or later. The next morning they did. Ryan showed up first, knocking on my door like a lost puppy. His face was pale, eyes red, hands shaking. "Daniel, man, please, you didn't have to show everyone. I cut him off. Neither did you. He lowered his head like a kid caught stealing. I wasn't trying to hurt you. I swear, but you did. He had no answer. And that silence was the sweetest truth of all. He tried again. Can we please move past this? Can we just talk like friends? We stopped being friends the day you looked at someone. I loved the way you used to look at your guilt. He had no defense, no courage, no dignity left. I closed the door slowly, not violently, not dramatically, just decisively. Emma came in the afternoon. She cried the moment she saw me, tears streaming, voice trembling. Daniel, why did you tell everyone? Why would you humiliate me like that? Humiliate you? I repeated calmly. I didn't create the truth. I only revealed it. She broke down even harder, sinking to her knees in the hallway. Please, please. I loved you. I made a mistake. I was stupid. I hate myself for it. I watched her, but I didn't feel joy. I didn't feel triumph. I just felt closure. This is the last time we'll talk, I said softly. I won't hate you, but I won't keep your secrets either. She looked up with shattered eyes. So this is goodbye. Yes, goodbye. And with that, I closed the door. This time, it didn't hurt. It healed. People think revenge is about destroying someone. But real revenge, deep, satisfying. Revenge is about rebuilding yourself into someone they can't hurt anymore. So I focused on myself. Work, health, new hobbies, quiet mornings, peaceful nights, friends who stayed, people who supported, energy that grew, strength that returned. I became someone new, someone stronger, someone wiser. Emma saw that. Ryan saw that. Everyone saw that. And that alone was the final blow they never expected. Because the greatest kind of revenge is showing people they no longer have power over you. Looking back, I realized something important. People don't ruin you. They reveal themselves. And when they do, you get to decide what to do with the truth. I chose to use it, not to destroy lives, but to reclaim my own. And that is the story of how betrayal broke me, rebuilt me, and finally set me free.